أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'm pleased to be here amongst the family again, and I believe some of the people didn't get an opportunity to hear everything I said. And I don't believe it's anything that I'm saying, I just think it's mostly logic for the most part. I think we've become lazy, we've become complacent, and we've subconsciously started bowing to entities that are not part of our spiritual understanding. Medical aids, banking systems, insurance companies are not our systems. The Most High gave us His message when He put us here on earth and says, you have everything you need. And through His last messenger, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, I think we can take a page from his book just to understand how it is that we are supposed to be healthy. So to recap on the points that I think we feel are the most important as regards to what we should be taking into consideration is water. Do we know where it comes from? Do you know what is in it? Do you know what the chemicals cause in our body? No, we don't. So we drink the tap water and hopefully pray that it's not going to make us sick. So along the journey spiritually, I'm going to jump in spiritually and come back into medicine and the body because they're somewhat linked. The whole point of prayer and spirituality and meditation is to activate within your body a part of your brain that allows you to see through the eyes of the divine spirit, as opposed to the blinding eyes that the physical body has. So the purpose is to let go of the nerves and to really forget that you have eyes or ears or a mouth, and rather just surrender to that which is in the vibration, which is God's spirit. For the most part, this was a plan by the Dajjal to actually take us away from ourselves. And by focusing on the most important parts that enter our body, the water and the food, we seemingly disconnecting our spirit from our body. And trying to reach that place of highness comes as an impossibility. So we go to school and we go to madrasa and we go to our studies, and we learn that we are supposed to pray, meditate, make namaz, do certain things, fast. But you get to a point where you can't go further, and you get trapped in what I feel is the hell on earth, or the cage of your mind. So when you're drinking water, the fluoride alone will calcify your pineal gland. The pineal gland is what is also known as the third eye. And it actually looks like a rotten tooth after a while. And to activate that gland after it's been damaged is very difficult. So you can never actually reach that place that you really want to. You know you can feel what you're going to there, but you will get cut short and you can never transcend, or you can never ascend. So the first one to take into consideration is the water. Amongst the fluoride, you get the chlorine, which makes your cell balance really ridiculous and makes your body see good cells as bad cells, poke holes in it, and then we start getting all these weird diseases that we run to our doctors and they give us some medicine. Those medicines contain chemicals that do further damage to your brain, to your body, to your lymphatic system, to your liver, to your kidneys, and then we get another disease and go to another doctor and get another medicine. So the chain never really stops. And it's because we've just been going to bow to somebody or something that we don't understand and it's far outside of our spiritual awareness. So the first thing is to ask more questions. What are the contraindications? What does it mean to take this step? What will you do? You go to the doctor, you've got high blood pressure. Do you know why you've got high blood pressure? No, they just give you a tablet. Most people we know that we've seen have been on medication for 15, 20, some 30 years, having the same medication. So the older you get, your blood pressure must be affected. You're not the same age anymore. So the general trend is to take your age plus 100 over 80 or 70 or 60, and it's generally a range that is accepted for your age. But if you go to the doctor, they say, no, you've got high or low blood pressure or high blood pressure, and they give you a medicine to drop your blood pressure. What that actually does is it doesn't allow the oxygen to reach your brain anymore. So you've got less amounts of oxygen reaching your brain, which is the starting causes of things like Parkinson's disease or Alzheimer's or any of the brain-related functions. Add to that the stuff that we're eating, the chips, which is a neurotoxin. What I mean by neurotoxin is it actually has the capacity or potential to your brain has got a barrier that protects it from what goes in and what goes out. The good Lord prepared it like that because He knew how sensitive that component was. In your body, out of your whole body, 70% of it is water. In that, 90% of that water sits in your brain. So it tells you that your brain requires water in order to make you do things. It catalyzes function, it catalyzes motion, it catalyzes thought, it catalyzes everything that we do. So when we put putting the wrong water in our body, it's putting the wrong sediment in our brain cells, fortunately. Then we're eating poisonous materials like, so everything that's got a flavor, any single chip that's got a flavor has got that neurotoxin in it. Every single one. It doesn't make a difference what it is. So the bottom line is that you can't eat those chips that you love anymore. And you'll see when you start stopping or trying to stop, it'll be very difficult. It is because it's an addictive substance. We don't realize that which we are actually addicted to. So apart from those things, breaking the blood-brain barrier and passing toxins into the brain, once a toxin reaches the brain, it takes up to 40 years to get out. So now, how do you actually fix the problem? How do you actually go back and undo the damage that you caused? So, and how this binds to the spiritual stuff is that the nafs are the bindings to earth, that which makes us physical creatures, the lust, the emotions, and the passions. These neurotoxins allow our brains to not be able to control ourselves. So even though you go to mosque, and even though you pray, and even though you're good in spirit, sometimes you just get weak. How come? How come you just shout at somebody for no reason? Sometimes you get edgy for no reason. You can't control what you're feeling. It's not just you that you can't control. It's that on your neural systems in your brain, you've got these deposits of stuff that don't belong there anymore. So you get these little, almost like solar flares from your brain that make you erratic. So you're not in control of your body anymore. And that's what the good Lord means by taking control of your body. You must be in control of your nafs. They mustn't be in control of you. You need them for some reason because you need to look at somebody that you want to marry and you feel some attraction towards them. It's a justified experience. But when does it become a problem is if you're unable to control that which you feel. So, in saying this, and I started this earlier, was they've made this plan. They've actually set it in motion that they know what they're doing. So that the JAL system is in play, and we're a part of that system because we're part of this world. So how do we uncover ourselves, yet still be part of this world that we need to eat and survive and drive cars and get to work and pay for our kids and whatnot? How do we actually bridge these two worlds? So this is where I expect most of my time in research. It's not actually in one space in the physical, just trying to understand what causes sickness, what causes disease. It's actually how does it bind into our belief system? What have we done as individuals, as a human race? What have we surrendered of ourselves, and to whom have we surrendered? So the more we realize is that we've actually just not thought anymore. This person says this is healthy, okay, we'll drink it or eat it. The milk, 99% of the milk on the shelves is poison. So how does a halal stamp get onto a bottle of milk that potentially has vitamin D that potentially comes from pig fat? How does it end up in our milk supply? How does RBST hormones, which emphasizes the cow to make more milk because the world needs more milk, what does it do to your body? So that RBST hormone makes that milk produce really fast. So now they can pull out millions of liters a month. What does it do for the human body? If you have one microscopic problem in your body, it's a starting of a cancer cell, it's a starting of a whatever disease it is. The body has a natural defense system. It goes through a process of eradication. But when you're drinking milk that has these types of contaminants in it, the minute that hormone hits your body, that thing multiplies within minutes. It starts quadrupling, and all of a sudden you've got a problem that now is going to take you the next 5 to 10 years to eradicate. So don't put into your body that which is going to take you very long to get out. The third one I want to speak about is the one that I think most of us are subconsciously guilty of, is that we have in our mouths poison. And if you read any of the stories of the hadith as regards health, 70% of disease relies or starts in the mouth or the stomach. So why is that the case? Because in between this place and this place there's a duct, there's a tract. What controls what goes in and what goes out? How do you control the germs that go in to protect your body from getting sick? If somebody's got a better immune system than somebody else, what does it mean? What does it mean that somebody can get sick but they can get over the sickness, where somebody will take weeks to get over the sickness? Some people won't even get sick. So in your stomach and in your mouth is where all the problems start. If you've got dirt in any way or form in those places, your body doesn't have the potential to fight disease. 70% of your immune system, believe it or not, lies within this area, in your colon area. The eradication of harmful substances happens in that layer. The absorption of good stuff happens in that layer. So if this part is compromised, what happens to the body? The body has got now a lesser defense system against anything. So you may not be hit immediately. Most of cancers start 8 years prior to them becoming noticed. They start off as a microscopic little cell. They take up to 8 years, and all of a sudden you wake up one day and you've been diagnosed. Then you go to the doctor, and what is the most obvious treatment? Chemo. Now, being a spiritual Muslim, I had to ask some questions about this, because when you're putting a substance that's so toxic into the human body, why can somebody go and have a glass of wine? Why haven't you justified that? How come all of a sudden chemotherapy is something that's that? In fact, the people who ship and use and handle that stuff wear biosuits. If that has a spillage in a hospital, they will close down that whole wing and go clean up that medicine. That's how poisonous that stuff that they put into the human body is. Yet, we accept it. We bow to the system and we say, okay, I'm a Muslim, alhamdulillah, I'm bowing to somebody else though, put me in my body, what doesn't belong there? So we find ourselves in this loop and we can't get out of it. And why I challenge it is because my mother was a spiritual person. She prays, she was kind, she was compassionate. She did all of the things that we are aspiring to do now in this movement. So what happened to her? How come she got sick and how come she had to go through that darkness? It was a sign for me, it was a sign for our family, and it was a sign of the times actually. It's not the problem with the disease, it's a problem with what we are eating. The food we are eating is contaminated. The fruits and veg is contaminated. The water is contaminated. The milk is contaminated. Therefore our minds must be contaminated. Where do you draw the line? What actually is classed as spiritual now, once you know that the basic building blocks of your survival is living in flight and flight mode? You're battling for survival every single day of our lives. So, it's just more about consciousness in the same way we pay consciousness to the spiritual realm, to the holy saints and prophets that came before us, to the Almighty. We have to do the same thing for our own bodies. We have to find the God within. So the whole point of these types of ceremonies and conferences is to really focus on the God within. Focus on that which Ruh He breathed into your body, and actually focus on the body that this is His body. This is His temple. In other words, we are the conduits of His action. Otherwise, why would we be alive at all? We're all these spirits floating around and we have no purpose on earth. But we are here to create change. We are here as a collective to create change. And I believe we are in the right spiritual body to effect that change on a large scale, and actually start taking our children and our mothers and fathers out of the hospitals and actually start taking a deeper look as to what's actually going on. So just 2 more points. I don't know how much time I have left, but just 2 more points. So the mercury fillings, most people have them. It's called amalgam fillings, another name. Inside the amalgam contains mercury. Mercury basically leaks after some time, after hot and cold, it cracks, and little driplets of it start falling into the thyroid. And for women, this is actually a really big problem because it affects their ability to regulate hormonal balances. So everything from the woman's general monthly cycles, to falling pregnant, to being overweight, to all of those symptoms are all because of thyroid function. So what's in your mouth affects what's in your thyroid, and therefore affects what's done. So 70%, if not more, I think of the cases of people who had breast cancer or prostate cancer came from mercury fillings. Apart from the fact that it's releasing toxins into your body and into your brain, so it's also bypassing your blood-brain barrier, it also creates an unrealistic chemical environment in your head. All of a sudden you get trapped. This thing continuously does this. It's very difficult to discharge after you've got a charge. And if you're wearing gold, either in your mouth or on your hands, gold and mercury are friends. They've got this relationship that's alchemic metals. So all of those kinds of metals have some control over your body. They make your body do things. They make your body feel things. Stones make your body do and feel things. So be careful what you put into our mouths. So what we should be looking for these days, I think, is a biodentist. We have some good ones around. They don't use any of these toxic materials. In fact, there's such a studied science about this that they're not even allowed to use hot drills on your teeth because just the gas alone can make you neurotic. Just the gas from taking out a filling can make you sick. So imagine what happens and how many years you can be having it. And most people who have that filling don't change it for 10 to 15 years. And then the last point is to clean the stomach. Most of us haven't got a clue how to do that, and we just eat and expect our bodies to be in good order. Your body, or your colon rather, can store old fecal matter for up to 30 years and up to 30 kilograms of it. So what that does is, no matter how healthy you tend to become after you've heard the message, I'm going to be clean now, is that it's never going to actually come right because they've already been winning the war inside. There's a war in your body between the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. And that is the cause of depression, that is the cause of eating disorders, that is the cause of, it's basically the cause of all disease, what happens in between these parts. So, please try and find some time to adhere to your physical bodies. Spirit awareness and awakening is wonderful, but it's 10 times more powerful when you're not bound in your body by these contaminants that actually bring you away from that space. So every time you get out, then you feel something, it brings you back down to it. You come crashing down actually. You don't come down in the easy landing, you come down like it's earth and you're like, oh, what am I doing here now? You weren't meant to be back already. So this thing disrupts the fasting, disrupts the entire balance of the human spirit. So we suggest you do a colonic irrigation. It may sound disgusting to some, but it's really, 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 really important that they put some pipe up your butt and they pass water through it. And I know this is a very religious conference, but it's as important to understand how important this is to your well-being. And they literally clean out, and sometimes it can take up to 7 days. And you realize that how much did I have in there? Where was all that stuff being stored? So one of the reasons we're lazy mentally, or lazy physically, or unable to lose weight, or unable to concentrate, or unable to wake up in the morning, or unable to have that energy to do those things that you really want to have fun doing, most of the reason is because of that. Your body is actually now lazy. What makes it worse is that if you don't clean it fast enough, it's a start of colon cancer. It's a start of other cancers in that area. And to get that stuff out of there when you later in life is 10 times more difficult. So I won't spend too much more time. I don't see any figures, so I'm happy. And if anybody has any questions, please go to the website, send some emails, or call us, or however you.